to another Short Film Saturday. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with...
Paul A Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow.
Who's that?
This is our Film Freaks cow.
What's his name?
Moosley.
Moosley. Do we have a name for this one?
That's Vibro Cow.
What?
Vibro Cow.
Vibro Cow.
Because it vibrates.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a massage cow.
Okay. And I don't need to know what you do on your videos.
Hey, people find cows, they're like, oh, I love this, they'll give it to you, and I get all kinds of wacky cow stuff.
Alrighty. Well, we are back for another Short Film Saturday, and we're here to talk about the 1985 short film done by Richard Linklater that you can find on the Slacker Blu Ray or DVD. It's called Woodshock. I don't know if it's on the DVD. I know it's on the Blu Ray, obviously. But I'm not sure if it's on the DVD or not. But Woodshock is basically a documentary, kind of short documentary, about the Austin music scene when they were putting out a festival, I believe, called Woodshock, and all the people that would come to it. It was a punk festival, kind of like Woodstock, but with punks.
Yeah, punk / underground music, and yeah, I mean, at the time it would have been like the thing or the scene. So I think they said like David Yao from the Jesus Lizard was there, and Dharma Bums was there, and U-Men were there, and other bands that would probably have been at some point. People like Stickmen with Ray Guns would have been there, and MDC I would think would have been there. Millions
They had
of
a
Dead
shirt for
Cops.
GBH.
That's a British band, British punk band.
British punk bands that had a shirt for it.
So there'd be a lot of people like Have the Exploited. They had those shirts. Those are all British punk bands, which were in the early '80s. So yeah, so you could see that that's where the music was coming from. So '85 was a very interesting time because all the early punk stuff and the second wave punk stuff was kind of transitioning into post-punk and underground, or what they would later term as the sort of college music underground.
And this short sort of had no. I mean, there wasn't much to the short.
Yeah.
It was only 7 minutes long.
And it's just kind of like people kind of showing up in the background, going, "Oh, this is gonna be fun," and
I'm gonna get naked.
Yay!
And shit like that.
And the only disappointing thing, I was kind of hoping we get to see some of the bands, or at least hear some of them a little bit.
I think you do sort of hear a little
Maybe
bit
in the background,
but you can't really tell who it is or what's going on.
Can't pick out any individual songs or anything. It's because, for me, it was my period. That was my time. It was my kind of music, my scene. So for me, I would love to have seen some of that. But I know maybe there were probably reasons he probably couldn't get the agreement from all the bands or whatever. I don't know, maybe if they didn't even care back then. But people forget, Austin had a really, really good underground music scene back in the '80s, and it was definitely a place and a time for that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it looked like everybody was having a fun time, everybody was enjoying themselves, and I just enjoyed the short because it's a look back at what Richard Linklater did right before Slacker. I know he did this movie, then he did a feature that he made called It's Impossible to Know How to Plow by Reading Books.
Right.
Books. And he had done this feature, and it basically there was no storyline except like just following the day in this life of Richard Linklater's character or whatever. So it was really nice to see another thing from him, and it being only 7 minutes long, just made it more like enjoyable because you're able to kind of fit in everything they needed to show.
And plus, it was a 16mm film, so this wasn't like a video camera, which a lot of people would have done just for convenience. He still had to go back and get all the chemicals and get it produced and
to like
mixed
edit,
and
cut
all
it
that.
all together and everything. So he actually did work on this thing. So Richard Linklater, he did a great job.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked
Slacker is one of my favorite films growing up and
really,
stuff.
really
So and so doing this review has been sort of fun for me in a way because I really like looking back at the stuff. And if you don't have it on Criterion, please pick it up. It's definitely worth it. We're doing a bunch of Criterion watches. I know Slacker will be on that at some point.
Yeah, it's very interesting comparing this to the one that we saw, the Kevin Smith early short film. and especially given the fact that, like you said, Kevin Smith definitely looked to Richard Linklater as an influence that got him to become a filmmaker.
So yeah, so we got to see Kevin Smith, and now we got to see Richard Linklater's.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Richard Linklater did a a phenomenal job.
It reminds me, it's got a little bit of a vibe to it, like you might see, what was her name, Penelope Spheris, who did The Decline of Western Civilization, the late 70s, early 80s punk movie. So if you kind of like that, it's
was
got
that
a little
documentary
bit of
or?
It was a documentary,
Okay.
yeah.
She later on went to be on like do Wayne's World.
I'm hoping that we get to do another show that's going to focus on full-length documentaries that we get to do, because that's one of the movies that I want to do, Decline of Western Civilization, because it's excellent, and it's one of those movies that just captures a time and a place and a scene and a moment that is just gone, and if you weren't there to live it like I was, you just wouldn't know about it now. It's just, not in the public sphere, unfortunately. So glad Richard Linklater caught, Austin at this time and place, because it would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been nice if they had a little bit more footage or something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And as you said, footage of the bands, but like just more footage of things happening or whatever. And but this is just a documentary about people having fun at a music scene and stuff. So if you're not really interested in that, I get it, but I had a good time. I like punk, so I like I like my pop punk. He likes like the real old school real punk.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. I like my stuff that I grew up on. Completely different generation. So but I also love the Ramones and some things, Sex Pistols and stuff like that. So there are some older punk that I'm into. I've never heard of most of these things, so maybe I'll go on YouTube at some point and check these out. And yeah, I should too. You said that they talked about The Exploited, right? And
GBH.
I mean, just a bunch of other.
Crass is another one you should definitely listen to Crass.
Yeah. So there you go. So check it out.
Anybody who wants an education on underground and punk music, hit up the Moocow. I can definitely hook you up.
If you have Slacker on Blu-ray or whatever, or I think even DVD, but if you see the Woodshock documentary on there, give it a whirl.
I'd love to talk to him about it, just to say, hey, A, do you have any more footage, and B, did you not put it together because you didn't have the time or the money, or is it just you couldn't get permission from the bands or the venue to actually film the bands playing? Or it might just be something simple that, he only wanted to do it when they weren't playing so that he could enjoy the music when they were playing.
If you have an answer to that, like you're somebody who worked on the project and stuff, please.
That'd be cool.
Because I know it was Richard Linklater, Lee Daniel. So if you guys, are able to help us figure that out, that'd be great, because I'd love to know too.
Yeah, be cool.
So leave a comment below. Until then, check us out in 2 weeks where it's the Mookow's episode. We're going to go do that right now.
All right.
So until then,
Bye.
bye.